At this point, we're just a few days away from fight day. Man, we've been waiting for this one for a long time, and we are almost here. We are going to finally, hopefully, get a conclusion, right? A decisive answer to who's the better fighter between Canelo and Triple G. That's the thing about rubber matches, right? That's the thing when we get the trilogy, we get to really figure out which guy's the better fighter. You see guys go out there and fight 3 times, potentially for 36 rounds. A lot of times you get an answer. Not every time. Sometimes we get nothing but questions. Sometimes we end up looking back and we say, man, these guys could fight 100 times and it would be close. These guys could fight 1,000 times and they would still be splitting them 600, 400, 499 to 501, something crazy like that. But I have a feeling we're going to get a definitive answer in this one. Okay? And it's going to be, I mean, there's what can I say? There's a few factors being involved in it. All right? So I'm just going to come right out there. I'm just going to jump out with it. I'm picking Canelo. I think he comes up with the victory, and I think he looks pretty good when he does it. Now, that's not to say that Triple G isn't going to look good. I do think he's going to look good in spots. All right? But in some ways, he kind of gets the short end of the stick with this one. And primarily, I think it's because of age. The guy's 40 years old, man. I mean, what are you going to do? You're fighting a guy in Canelo who's just a beast skill-wise. He's got good power. He's got very fast hands. I think he's got quicker feet. I think, he's a great left hook, great chin, blah, 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 blah. We can go on and on about his qualities, right? We know how good of a fighter Canelo is with the ring IQ and this and that. But the fact is he's also considerably younger. And that makes a big difference. Triple G's 40 years old, man. Go back and look at his last fight with Murata. Did he look good in spots? Absolutely. Did he physically just look strong and just like he was bringing it? Yeah, absolutely. But look at his footwork. Look at his work rate. Look at the punch selection that he used. Man, his bread and butter, everybody knows about the left hook to the body. Everybody knows about that left hook upstairs and the right hand and the way that he can counter and all that kind of stuff. But what doesn't get nearly enough praise is the jab of Triple G. Man, Triple G has one of the best jabs in the game. You don't always think about that with a power puncher, but he goes out there and he uses it so well. He can go out there and use it like a telephone pole and bludgeon you with it. He can go out there and just constantly tap, pop, 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 and keep you busy so that you're not getting your punches off, and that allows him to set up his offense more. He can use it just to set up his offense. He can use it to counter your jab. He'll cut your jab short and jab with you. And he's got so much power behind his guys do not want to jab with him. Right? So he's got multiple ways of using it, all incredibly effective, incredibly accurate. When he throws it out there, man, he's not bouncing it off your gloves. He's not throwing it at your shoulders. Man, he's landing it on your nose. Right? So Triple G is beastie with the jab. I don't think he used the jab in that fight enough with Murata. I don't think he used the jab enough in the second fight with Canelo. Now, when he did use the jab, he looked good. Okay, I'll be the first to admit that. The rounds that I think he won, I'm personally a guy who gave that second fight to Canelo. I know that's debatable. There's a lot of people out there who gave it to Triple G. I understand that, right? He won a lot of rounds. He looked very good in spots. And I think the spots that he looked good in were the spots where he was able to do 2 things. Number 1, he was able to hold his ground or advance. When Canelo is able to push Triple G back, he's not nearly as good. We even saw it in that fight with Murata. Like, look in that second round with Murata. Triple G was backing up at times. Okay, I think Canelo's going to be able to back him up more in this one. But that's when he did not look good. When he looked best was when he was able to hold his ground or push Canelo back. And number 2, during those same times when he was able to hold his ground or push Canelo back, he was using the jab way more. When he uses that jab, it's so effective. He's able to get so much more going. But the thing is, he has to increase his work rate. I mean, he just has to be busier. I also think Canelo's going to go to the body more. He's more, since that second fight, he's fought bigger men. He's become more accustomed. I think he's tweaked his style a little bit. He's at a time when he can grow and develop a little more because of his age. I think all of the factors are kind of lined up for him to have the slight edge to come up with the victory on this one. On top of that, I think he's incredibly motivated. He knows what's going to happen if he were to come out with a second loss. Man, are you kidding me? 2 losses in a row? First he loses to Bivol, then he comes out and he loses to Triple G in the trilogy fight? No way, man. There's no way that I think Canelo's going to allow that to happen to his legacy. Like, he's on fire. He's training super hard. He's incredibly motivated. He understands exactly what that means. I made a video talking about what if Canelo loses. Man, there's going to be guys who question his entire legacy. That may sound crazy to you. Sounds a little bit crazy to me, but let's be perfectly honest with each other. That's exactly what's going to happen. He knows it. I know it. You know it, right? Everybody sees that. There's only one way that he can prevent that from happening. Going out and winning this fight. And then, if he goes out and he wins it in spectacular fashion, goes out and wins it in dominating fashion, then people are going to be saying even more. Then people are going to be bringing up even bigger things like, should he go back right away and get the rematch with Bivol? Man, look how good it is. Is Triple G sliding? Was this just how good Canelo is? Was the fight with Bivol a one-off? And if he comes back in the rematch, he's going to look great, right? Then it's going to be all kinds of exaggerated talk on the other end. Once again, praising heap upon him, right? Because that's just the way the media is, man. That's just the way fans are. That's just the way haters are. That's just kind of the way that it rolls. And Canelo, I mean, dude, he's been in the limelight since he was, 18, maybe 19 years old? Something like that. Like, he's no stranger to it. He understands exactly how everything works. He understands that if he doesn't want to deal with all of the garbage from the media and all of the talk and social media and fans and everything else, if he doesn't want to deal with that until at least his next fight, and maybe even after his next fight, he's got to win this one. He said he's taking it personal because of certain things. Man, I get all of that. But I also think that he has the advantages going into this one, right? Primarily, we're looking at the age. We're looking at the hand speed. I just think that's a major factor, right? If you told me Triple G was, 33, 34 years old going into this one, I may be looking at it differently. I definitely felt that he won their first fight, and I picked him to win going into their first fight. But this one, all the factors involved, the way he looked in his last fight, going up to 168, going with Canelo on this one. Now, the line is interesting. We got a line at like 5-1, possibly even 5.5-1, depending on where we were, right? Minus 500, minus 550. That's a big line, man. That's a big line. Now, you got guys out there like Tim Bradley, who I loved watching him as a fighter, respect him, and enjoy listening to him a bunch as a commentator. And he's coming out there and saying things like, Canelo's going to get the stoppage. Canelo is going to look like an absolute phenom. He's going to be a beast. Triple G isn't going to be able to handle him because of his age and all these kinds of things. So he's kind of looking at it the same way I am, but he was just saying, it's going to be even more, man. Canelo's just going to go out there and he's going to do things Triple G isn't going to be able to handle him. Now, if you believe that, then you're not going to think that 5-1, 6-1 even is inflated odds. You're going to look at that and you're going to think that there's value in that line. I don't know if he's going to go out there and get a stoppage, man. Triple G's made of iron, and I get it. So is Canelo, right? So it's not like I'd be betting the under in this fight either. But we've seen the shots that both of these men have taken, not only from each other, but from other people. Both of them still there. Both of them going strong. So to come out and say that just because Canelo's younger and he's stronger and he's got faster hands, or Triple G isn't going to use the jab as much, he's going to get backed up, or Canelo's going to go to the body and break him down. I do believe he's going to go to the body as well, and it's going to be effective. Now, does that necessarily mean that he's going to get the stoppage? I don't know, man. Triple G, not only is he physically incredibly strong, he is mentally very strong. Seems like the type of guy to me, man, that if he doesn't want to get stopped, it's going to be tough to stop that man inside of 12 rounds, particularly when he's going up against an opponent that he's already fought for 24 rounds, so he knows him well. Going with Canelo for the victory in this one, I think it's most likely to be a decision. I don't really bet decision or stoppages anyways. If I'm looking at it, I'm just going to go with Canelo. So let me know what you guys think. Am I overlooking what Triple G brings to the table? Do you think the age is going to be a factor, or do you think, man, all great fighters have one last great fight in them? Is this going to be that one last great fight for Canelo? Is this, or Triple G? Is this going to turn out to be like Pacquiao Marquez 4? Right? Marquez got cheated, possibly, depending on how you look at it. Marquez may have been cheated in some earlier fights. Now all of a sudden he comes back in the fourth one. Everybody picks him to lose. He's the older guy. He hasn't been looking as good, and gets the just show-stopping, incredible face-plant knockout on Pacquiao. Is that the type of story that we're going to have when we're looking at Triple G Canelo? Everybody kind of leaning towards Canelo going into this thing, and then Triple G just comes out there and puts the exclamation mark on the trilogy. Let me know what you guys think.